All right. Welcome, everyone. Hope you're having an awesome day. It's a nice day out here in Southern California. Burton's even more Southern California than I am. So it is a good day. No fires. Thank goodness. Hope you're having an awesome day, everyone out there. Burton is with PropStream. We're going to be talking about outbound marketing lead gen opportunities. And Burton, the last time I talked to you, when you showcased, I think it was the last time you showcased all of what PropStream could do. Um,
Correct.
it really left me with a lot of different thoughts of how I could use it. So I was looking
Mm.
forward to this one to see what angle you go because lead gen is the most important thing for the lifeblood of my team and my brokerage. So I'm here to learn, man. I'm here to
Yeah,
write and figure out how
absolutely.
to do this.
Just want to make sure we're on the same page. Did you want me to also go over the marketing components or just kind of focus on the lead gen?
Well, lead gen and marketing, I think, go hand in hand. We market
I
to
agree.
attract, right? So I
I
think go
agree.
that route. Go that route, and I'll
Let's go
interrupt.
for it. Well, actually, that makes sense because in order to even use any of our marketing components like skip tracing and setting up a website, we obviously need to have a list of some sort or a property, a lead. So
Yep.
let's start there. Let me share my screen and here we go. So what I'm showing you guys really quick is just an outline of, what our product does. We can help you analyze a property, give you property info, mortgage info. You could run comps using MLS data nationwide. We went over that in our last discussion, but today I want to talk about the lead generation aspect, primarily part two and part three. But notice how I said part two and part three. In order to actually skip trace with PropStream or to use our marketing, you will need to have a list or a property saved. So let's start there. Let's begin with how do I market to a single property? Well, the first thing you want to do is pull up that property. So you can either search a specific property by typing in the address here at the top. And when you
Yep.
do that, you'll notice that you'll be able to go into the property details, learn more about that asset. Now, if this is a property that you want to get contact information on or set up a website and send postcards and emails through PropStream, you will need to save that property. And so you can either save it within the property details, or if you know from the get-go, I'm going to market to this address, you can just save it from the initial search. So the point is, when you save that property by hitting save, a little pop-up will appear and it'll ask you two
Cool.
things. Well, actually, it'll tell you two things. One, the property has been saved and it's going to be added to your main folder of individual properties called My Properties, or you can separate into a separate folder. And that's what I can do now. I can call it the 266 Pacheco Street. And so saving a property will always save it to the My Properties list, but you have this option to create a separate list. Now, when I go into My Properties, this is your filing cabinet, if you will. For those that are saving individual properties, it's called a favorite. That's this area here at the top. And so you usually see three folders here. One is every single property you've ever saved, including your marketing list. That's all saved properties. Your My Properties, which is every individual property that you've ever saved combined into this one folder. And then if you decided to create a separate folder, like what I just did a few moments ago, there's your individual one. Now,
Go.
people sometimes will say, you know what? I forgot to do that, Burton. I forgot to save that property, and now it's in here with all the other ones. How do I create an individual list? You can actually select any of these options and then go to actions, and you can
Mhm.
create a new favorite list. So add to a favorite list, create a new one, 4710 Keith Court. You can even delete it from the My Favorites. I like to just keep it here just as a safety precaution. So I never really personally hit that option, but you have that luxury. So in this scenario, if you accidentally put it in all your other favorite properties, just go in there, select it, use the action button, and then you can isolate it into its own list. That's going to be important because now that I have this one address, I can proceed further down into the toolbar and now skip trace this one address or skip trace, or I'm sorry, send a campaign element to this one address. Okay, so that's one way to market to a lead, and that's saving an individual lead. Now, the
Wow.
other way that you can market to leads is building a list with PropStream. And we talked about this in our last webinar that we did. And that consists of pulling up your investment market, let's say today's Las Vegas, and utilizing our search filter. The awesome part with PropStream is we gave you 20 categories that you could start with, or if you don't even want to start with a category, you have 160 plus filters here on the left-hand side to just build your own situation, I call it. For example, right? I don't want a list. Here's what I want. Go to Las Vegas, find me all the residential single-family properties that are under 5 bedrooms. Make sure they're off market, essentially not listed with the realtor, because again, I'm trying to work with the homeowners directly. As a matter of fact, in regards to that homeowner, I want that homeowner to have owned this property for some years, let's say 10 years. And I'm not looking for corporate owned properties or, a trust. I just want individually owned properties. And finally, I need equity on my property. So let's go to the value and equity section. And let's just make sure that these properties have, let's say 50% in equity or more. Now, what's the motivation to even speak to Burton today? Well, let's talk about that mortgage that they have. How about we look for mortgages that have been recorded a few years ago, let's say February 1st, 2020, or before, so 5-year-old mortgages or before. However, the mortgages that I want to talk to or that I'm looking for have a certain interest rate. You guys know where I'm going with this? That's right, adjustable rates. So find me the 5-year-old loans with adjustable rates, because that's the topic of my conversation when I'm trying to find these motivated sellers, right? So I could go, again, I can go at the top and I can go for a pre-foreclosure. I can go for bank owned. I can go for delinquencies, senior owners. We have 20 categories. But the point I was making in our last webinar is the power behind PropStream is that you don't have to do it that way if you don't want to. You can do exactly what I just did and say, hey, who in Las Vegas has a 5-year loan that's adjustable? Because when it matures, that might be the reason they go into delinquency or bankruptcy or pre-foreclosure or any of these, dire situations. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of finding them before they hit these categories. So that's, again, a point I always want to make about PropStream's filtering system is that you have a lot of filters. You can create these unique situations. Trust me, you can't go to the county today and say, county, single family properties, 10 years of ownership, mortgages 5 years ago that are adjustable rates. Give me what you have. That does not exist anywhere. And it's through products like PropStream that give you these results. So got my 4,403 addresses that have 5-year adjustable rate mortgages. For me personally, it's a little too much. And the cool thing with PropStream is you can filter your results. So let's say I just want only the first 100. Show me results 1 through 100. I can now check those guys off and add it to a list. Now I can add it to a list I already have or create a new one. So let's do that. So we're going to call this the Las Vegas adjustables. And we're set. So point is, in order to skip trace, in order to market with PropStream, we're going to need to have a list. And I showed you 2 ways to do that. 1, to search an address and save it. 2, to search a market, add some filters, and then create your Las Vegas adjustables or whatever that situation is that you're trying to market to. Okay. Once that's done, now I decide whether I go to part 2 or part 3. Now, I don't need to skip trace. I'll give you an example of when you would want to skip trace. You're cold calling. Maybe you're going to send text messages on your phone. Maybe you want to send them an email. Those are the reasons why you would want to skip trace. But if, let's say, I don't want to skip trace this list, I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm working on a senior owner list. I don't think that list is going to be proactive with text messaging. I know my mom, she's in her 60s, she still asks me how to use the text messaging. So my mom would prefer postcards. So you see, in that scenario, I probably don't need to skip trace. I can go straight into part 3. So part 2 is optional, just like part 3. When would you need to do part 2? Cold calling, SMSs, emailing. So let's say I wanted to do that with this particular list. I go to skip tracing, right? We're going to go ahead and do step 1, which is select your contacts. Here at the top, we have a drop-down menu. So go through that drop-down menu. And you can, again, select an individual property like the ones that we saved earlier. Skip trace 1 property. There's no max or minimum. Or you can choose that entire list that you built. So here are my 100 adjustable rates. All of them are selected. That's good. I'm going to go ahead and hit the add selected button. They're now in the selected column down below. I can proceed to the next step. I hit done. I can now go to step 2 by hitting next. It's going to give me my price. Duplicates, if you already skip traced it before, or if there's not enough information, because that can be like a trust, for example, we'll automatically filter that out of your list. So we don't want to double charge you if you already, again, skip traced it, or there's an owner with 2 properties in here already. For example, that's an example that can happen, or it's like a trust, so we're just not able to capture information, okay? I'm going to place my order, accept the terms and agreements, and now I can name my list. I could keep it the same name or rename it. All right, so that's skip tracing. And the cool thing about PropStream is your results are same day. So in a few moments, once you're done skip tracing, head over to the contacts page. Think of it this way. What is it that you're doing when you're skip tracing? You're trying to get contact information. So head to the contacts area, and here on the lower left-hand side is all of your skip tracing lists that you've ever skip traced. So if I go through here, you'll notice it's in alphabetical order. And there is my Las Vegas adjustable rates. Right now, that list is currently processing. When it's completed, it's going to look like the list right above it. It'll say completed, and then we'll fill in that information for you. And yes, if you're wondering, we do scrub the list on your behalf at no additional cost. So you'll see which phone numbers are on the do not call list or not, and whether you want to reach out to them or not. We'll leave that up to you. Okay, you're the master of your business, so you know what you're doing. Now, a thing to note, a lot of people don't really realize this, is in the same area, the contacts page, you can actually import an outside list. A lot of people forget that. They're like, well, I already built a list somewhere else, and I heard about PropStream later on. I'm like, well, take that list, and if you want to skip trace it or mark it with this, you can. So the import button allows you to download our template, copy your list over, and then upload it, and then that becomes a group. So it can be an outside list, an individual you want to skip trace, and then when you go to skip tracing and select those contacts, that's one of the categories. So again, it could be an imported list, a single property, or a marketing list that you built in PropStream. Those are the options in which you can skip trace. And that's part 2. So once your list is done and fulfilled, usually takes a few moments. What I would recommend is go grab a quick bathroom break or grab a drink, and then hit the refresh button after a few moments, and then click on the same list that you skip trace. Unless the list is like thousands of results, then it might take a few moments, but usually for a few lists, okay, so it's still doing, I'm sure it's going to be done by the time we're done with this, but you'll get your results in a few moments. So we'll just give it about a minute and then we'll refresh the page. But if, let's say, I have my results, the last thing you can do once you get your results is highlight them all. And this is another important aspect. You can export that list. So how do I get this list out of PropStream? Just hit the export button, and there are your results right there. Okay, so this is our skip tracing area. That's how it works. Before we move to part 3, do we have any questions regarding this aspect?
Yeah, we do. James has got a question. If you make phone calls, do you know how accurate these phone numbers are?
Oh, that's a really good question. And actually, that's a question we all should be aware of, because that's where companies kind of market at you in a weird angle. So you're going to hear percentages everywhere. Oh, we have, 99 percentile, blah, 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 blah. Be very careful with that. So the way that our skip tracing data works is that we work with several top providers in our space. I can't name names because of the non-disclosure agreements our company has to sign, because we get a better price than consumers, obviously. So I can't name names, but we work with several, every one of them. And the unique part about what's cool about PropStream is that when you get your results, we don't just get the results and then give it to you. We actually hygiene that data. So a few moments ago, I showed you the DNC. Like these providers don't do that for us. So we have to get these results and then through a separate data set, scrub it for you guys and then hand it over to you. Another thing that we do is, so here's the list that we built, and now the results are here. Another thing that we do is we order the quality of that phone number. So you see how this homeowner has like several landlines and several mobile numbers. However, when you click on that person's name, you'll notice the order is based on quality. So even though we had several mobile numbers and several landlines, it's this other phone number that's actually the priority, the high quality one. And that's probably like a software phone number. So someone's probably using like a satellite phone, maybe like a dialer at home. So what it's saying is like, hey, out of all these numbers, here's the order in which we're receiving the quality. Now, back to the question. We can do only so much. We can scrub the list, we can put it in order. What we cannot control, and this is what I think people forget about, is whether that homeowner is actually going to pay the bill, pick up the phone number, or tell you that it's actually them on the phone, right? These are three things we can't control. So I'll give you an example. Let's just theoretically pretend that there's only one skip tracing provider in the world, right? Let's say it's the government. We all go to the government. We give them a list, they give us phone numbers, right? So let's play make believe. We're in that world. One skip tracing provider for everybody. There's no other option. You bring to them 100 cash buyer records, get your 100 phone numbers, and then I bring to them 100 pre-foreclosure records, and I get my 100 pre-foreclosure phone numbers without even calling any numbers right off the bat. Which list do you think is going to have more disconnected numbers and people telling me, hey, you got the wrong number, get me off your list? Is it the cash buyers list or is it the pre-foreclosure list? Again, same providers, results are going to be dramatically different. So what people forget is that your list that you are initially building controls your accuracy from the get-go. So if you're pondering right now and you're wondering, man, nobody on this pre-foreclosure list is answering, and you're going from skip tracing provider to the next to find the perfect skip tracing provider, it's actually your list. And this is why I love showing building situations, because there's people out there that are not on a list. Because you got to imagine, once a person is on a list, everyone's going to pull that list and skip trace that list and start calling that homeowner. And that increases the probability of the homeowner disconnecting their phone number and getting a new number, or saying, hey, you got the wrong person on the number, right? And how can you verify that? You can't. Or they just never pick up. So great question. That's my answer, because that's the most transparent answer you're going to get. A lot of people say, oh, we're like 80%, 90%. That's not the reality. So when you're pulling a very aggressive list, as a matter of fact, if you're still staring at the screen, I created this right here to kind of prove that point. I call this the motivation chart. So like a homeowner doesn't just wake up and they're in pre-foreclosure, right? Like usually a bankruptcy, a divorce, maybe delinquencies, or it has a lien. So these things usually cause the pre-foreclosure, right? Like 6 months of missed payments or something. So no one just wakes up into pre-foreclosure, but usually we're taught, go get this list. And if you can get through, great. But because there's so many investors in that area, that's again why you get so many disconnected numbers. You got the wrong number, leave me alone, stop talking or calling me, blah, 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 blah. So understand that the results, the accuracy starts with your list. And so the less demand for that list, the more unique the situation is, right? Like the adjustable rates, 5 years old. Those are probably homeowners that are going to have a higher answer rate versus a pre-foreclosure list. So very loaded answer, but I hope that answers your question. Tristan, any other questions to add to that?
There are a couple of them. I answered one here. Sigrid asked, do those clients agree to receive emails, phone calls, and messages prior to being provided to us? I know with the new rules, we need permission to reach out to them as agents. Sigrid, they do not have permission. You're grabbing this information, and there is no permission in there. Just know that what I typed in there for you, you can call people that are not on the do not call list, right? But those that are on the do not call list, you should not be calling at all, especially as a real estate agent. You don't want to give us an even worse name. The other thing you can do is upload them and retarget them. That's what I would do. That's how I would bring them back to your world. And then you can choose to mail them. We mail them as well. So that would be a great thing. Skeeter, training videos. Burton, do you have any training videos on any of this?
Absolutely. We have tons. We actually have a help section within the toolbar, or you can go to our main website and there's a resource tab and an online academy, which is free, by the way. And you don't actually even have to subscribe to PropStream if you want to take the online courses first. But the help videos are available. We do live webinars, we have customer support, and then the online academy. These are just a few options for you. And then if you're into social media, our social media will sometimes put tips and tricks out there on our social pages as well. So these are just a few options in terms of resources for you here. All right. So Part three, marketing. All right. So we have a list or individual property we just saved. We can skip trace it. We went over that. We can also import an outside list. We went over that. But the third part in PropStream is our marketing, and that's our campaign section. So three things you can do in the campaign section. One, set up a website for your list. Think of that as a funnel page. So if I create a 5-year-old loans with adjustable rate, then this website's probably going to say, call me if you don't want to pay high rates when your loan matures, right? Whatever that message is, right? Or your payment's too high now, give me a call. What, right? So looking to get help with refinancing your loan, call me. I'm your local realtor who can help you with lenders, right? So whatever that message is, whatever your product service is, maybe it's to list their property before it matures. Maybe it's to help them find a lender before it matures. I don't know what your angle is, but that's the cool part about the campaign section is I can start a new campaign. I can call it the adjustable rate campaign, and I can select, again, either an individual property or in this case, my Las Vegas 5-year-old adjustable rates of 100 properties. Once I name my campaign and target my list, I can hit save, and that initiates a new campaign. You can have as many campaigns as you like. There's no limit because we understand you're going to have multiple lists. You're going to have a cash buyers list, an adjustable rate list, a senior owner list. So if you have 3 lists, feel free to create 3 active campaigns because each campaign gets one website. This adjustable rate one I just created, I can now set up a website for it. Okay. So set that up. It's very simplistic. What would you like your website name to be? Oh, you know what? I can keep it these random numbers and that's my URL, or I can say Burton helps with adjustables.
Huh.
That way there's a psychological connection. When they see that landing page, you're like, oh, this guy helps with adjustable rates. I have an adjustable rate. Maybe I need to talk to this guy. He might just be an expert in that stuff, right? Remember, when you're marketing, it's a psychological thing. So if you could leave it the random numbers if you want, but I would probably do something that it ties it in. So if you're marketing to a senior owner list, Burton helps find retirement homes, right? Find your retirement home with Burton or whatever. Connect that psychologically. Okay, contact email. There's an application on this website that we're going to give you. If they go to this website, they can give us their name, phone number, email, and leave you a message. If they do that and hit submit, this is the email that gets that information. So you can either keep it your username or replace it with something else. You then can check this box off and save your design you're about to create in a few moments. Doing so will store it in our template area. Sorry, my VPN is blocking it, but just to give you an idea.
That's good, man. I like that.
So right there, you can see this is one of my templates. I had a background there. So anything you've done, you can save. If not, you can start here. This is our setup page. So if I don't like that banner image, I can actually remove it and replace it with another one. Same with the logo. I can upload my business logo, and I can upload 5 pictures as well. So let me see if I have one that's fully designed here. So that way we can see what it looks like. There you go. So there's just a mock-up one. Background, logo, and then I added 3 pictures. So big ones, number 1, and then 2 small ones, and then 4 and 5 will be right there. There's the contact us, and then the body message and the header message. We help tired landlords. Well, in this case, no, we help homeowners with adjustables, right? Period. And then the body message, are you afraid of high rates? Call me today and we can tell you how we can help you. So again, we want to make sure that we're not just creating a landing page that resonates with their situation, but just make sure the messaging is similar to that as well. And then once you're done, go ahead and hit save at the top right, and website is published just like that. We don't wait. There's no approval process. That website is now live. There it is right there. And if you guys want to check it out, here, let me put it in the chat. You guys can go ahead and click on it and see what it looks like on your tab. So we instantly can create you a website for your specific list. And then after you create that website, then I would suggest go ahead and send that postcard out to them. So postcards are priced based on tiers and size. Since I have about 100 people on my list, standard will be 54, bigger one would be 78. So make your option there. And then we have our templates. So you can choose any of our templates. Since you're an agent, you're probably going to want to go through the realtor only templates. And so the messaging of these postcards are more designed for an agent. So sitting on a property that's upside down, house for sale, whatever that may be. Okay. So select one. Oh, actually, this is perfect. Is your mortgage too much to carry? Hey, what do you know? Red, that one just spoke to me. There you go. And now I'm done. And I can go ahead and print and mail and send off this postcard with PropStream. So postcards are marketing options for you. The other element of marketing, let me go ahead and just save this real quick. Mortgage card. The other form of marketing is our email marketing. So after we send out this postcard, I can either wait for them to receive this postcard in about a week and a half. That's usually the turnaround. Or I can go to new activity here at the top and compile it with an email marketing as well. So I can start sending them email today, in the next 2 days, and then the next 3 days. Even if they don't answer, what I'm doing is, again, they're starting to see my brand, that logo. And then boom, when the postcard comes in, it's like, oh, hey, well, this looks familiar. Yeah, because I've been sending you emails up until that postcard arrived to your house. And so email marketing, when you select that, same setup with the postcard. Just fill out this first area, right? The unique things about this email marketing is you can put your name on it. So friendly from, I can put PropStream or my name, and they can reply back to it. So I love this feature because you can say, hey, would you like to know the value of your house today? Reply with yes. They say, yeah, that's a hot lead. That's someone that wants to know the value of their house. Call them, right? Like literally call them right now. And then the other third thing I forgot to add is the subject line. To make sure that the delivery rate is as high as possible, because we can't guarantee it, there's a spam compliancy filter on this subject line. So if you do things like, looking for cash is bad. Don't ever use that. It's never going to get delivered. And so we'll flag that for you. Sometimes we don't even realize, but I see a lot of agents use investment in their marketing, right? Looking for an investment property. That's a flagged word. This is why your emails don't probably get delivered when you put investment. It might seem innocent, right? Because you're probably trying to market to a buyer. Hey, Mr. Buyer, looking for an investment property. That's not getting to your buyer because that word investment is flagged. So be careful, right? So how about knowing that investment's flagged, looking to increase your portfolio? See how having just that allows me to readjust. And a buyer's going to look at that like, hell yeah, I want to, and of course I want to add to my portfolio. Who's this agent? Let's see their listings. And so this is our email setup. Fill that out. And then once you have that filled out, this is the editor page. So again, you could add, backgrounds, logos, your message. And then what's cool is you can actually email it to yourself to preview what it would look like when they would get it. And then if you love it, just publish it and off you go, right? And the cool thing about the publish button is when you're setting it up, you can either deliver it right away when you hit publish or schedule them for a future date. So again, if they're going to get this postcard on Wednesday, I want to send these emails maybe on Sunday night when everybody's home, they're looking at their phone. Boom, you get my email. You may not answer it, but come Wednesday, you're going to see that postcard, and then boom, that psychological connection comes into play. So that's PropStream's marketing, and that's part 2 and 3 of our product, guys.
Is the number on the postcard, are we able to text that number or no?
The number on well, you get to upload your phone number on the postcard. You get to put whatever contact information. Yeah. So, and I would actually recommend that, Tristan. As a matter of fact, speaking of which, when you are sending out your postcard, that's actually one of the 3 questions we'll ask you before you place that order. Did you leave your phone number on the card? Does it fit the margins and whatnot? So here's your sample card, and here are the 3 questions. Are your text fonts and images within the specified margins, right? Because if anything's cut off on the screen, guess what? They're going to see it cut off as well. Did you include your contact information? And so we do have a team that will look for that. And you'd be surprised how many people will create an amazing card but forget to put a contact. And then are your images clear? So if you are uploading your own design, just make sure it doesn't look pixelated. If it looks pixelated on the screen, when that processor starts printing out your design, it's going to look ultra pixelated. So make sure your quality is as high as possible. And we do give you those requirements when you're uploading your design. All right. So great question, Tristan. And yes, the answer is I would recommend that you do apply your contact information to these postcards.
I love it. Burton, thank you so much. And we did put up the link there if you want to test it out. There's a sign up for 30-day trial right there. And he has a lot of training videos on there. He wasn't lying when he said, I've got training videos. He's got training videos for training videos. This is pretty extensive. He's done a great job.
Tristan, you're amazing. And yeah, that's probably true. We do have training videos on training videos.
He's done a great job, man. I'm like, when I looked at it, I was like, wow, this is great. This is very good.
Hey, I'm telling you guys, I have this philosophy that a lead is not going to always be on a list like I showed you guys, those adjustable rates. So if I can show you all this knowledge, you're going to find more homeowners to help. And that's the business, right? That we're in. We're here to help people. So go out there and find those people that need your help, guys. My name is Burton. Thank you for having me today.
Thanks, Burton. Appreciate it. And Walter, I put up the link there one more time for you. Grab that one. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and message me or find Burton on Instagram as well. Thanks, everybody.